gamers, it's time. Clams is my favorite SpongeBob episode, and I'm going to explain to you why. First of all, it's a parody of my second favorite film, Jaws, which, if that wasn't already clear by its title card, which has striking similarities to the movie poster of Jaws. In Jaws, we follow Officer Brody, played by Roy Scheider. In the movie, he usually is looking around the beach and making sure everything is okay. He then eventually tries to convince everyone that a shark is on the loose, killing people left and right. However, the mayor does not want to close down the beaches, as the 4th of July weekend is what brings in the most business around town. And so Brody, this weird sailor guy, and this cool scientist dude basically hunts down the shark, Jaws. That basically is the movie summary, and the SpongeBob episode perfectly captures the essence of the original while making fun of it at the same time.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
In this episode, Mr. Krabs finds out that he just obtained his $1,000,000, and he celebrates like crazy and eventually decides to invite the whole crew onto a company vacation.
Do you know what this is?
A very dirty dollar.
No! This is my $1,000,000 earn!
To reward you for helping me make me $1,000,000, I'm taking you on a trip.
Wow, a trip!
So of course there's a catch, and the vacation is actually clam fishing, and this is to get our characters on the boat, i.e. hunting down for the shark. And in this instance, it's not hunting down for a shark, but instead hunting down for clams. What I like about this, though, is that there's a really funny joke where the boat is actually named the SS Cheapskate, and in the original Jaws, it was just called the Orca, but it's just a nice little nod, about Mr. Krabs' personality. But anyways, I like the boat name. It's funny.
Okay, I've had enough.
Oh, Squidward.
So in that last scene I was just playing, you'll notice SpongeBob recklessness, and Mr. Krabs kind of makes fun at Squidward for not being able to deal with it. However, this leads into SpongeBob still having his recklessness and actually removing the $1,000,000 off of Mr. Krabs, which of course was put in the safest spot possible. And of course, Mr. Krabs gets mad about it and kind of gets SpongeBob a little anxious and tells him to get it back. However, the joke part comes in right immediately, and the whole parody part of this episode in the music inclusion, which is absolutely amazing.
Reel it in before I keyhole ya! Oh no. SpongeBob, quick, reel it in! Can't you hear the music? That's a 4/4 string ostinato in D minor! Every sailor knows it means death! Reel it in before it's too late!
I'm gonna have to keep this mostly silent, however, due to copyright reasons. I don't even know if this video will be able to go out because of copyright reasons. But anyway, so the music starts to play, which indicates the clam/shark is immediately coming, and that stresses out Mr. Krabs, which is funny because every time in the original film, every time the music would come on, the shark would come. And so it introduces an element of surprise and also just kind of making fun of the whole point of the original movie. And of course, Mr. Krabs gets his dollar. However, it's not for very long, as the clam comes back and snatches the dollar, which of course leads to, stuff.
Never seen Mr. Krabs so broken up.
After multiple creative ways that Mr. Krabs somehow just can cry or whatnot, SpongeBob and Squidward both agree to get back his $1,000,000, and of course Mr. Krabs goes full gamer mode and decides to go full hardcore.
Here's where clam fishing gets serious.
Well, they wait a while, and they decide that it's kind of useless, so they come up with a plan to act out and kind of fake Mr. Krabs' $1,000,000, so they got it back to make Mr. Krabs happy and so they can all go home. But of course it backfires on them because apparently Mr. Krabs is some, money-sensing, fanatic, which makes sense because he actually likes money, and he would, I don't know, sniffing it, crabs, it's just weird, but, So he gets on them and basically captures them and goes all psychopath mode. Krabs finds them and basically is like, "Welp, you're gonna die." Mr. Krabs introduces, once again, one of the best parts of the films, but instead of going against him, he uses it for himself, which is the music again, which attracts the clam, which is the best part of the episode. Super creative and funny in how SpongeBob and Squidward both react to something so meaningless, which is music, but Mr. Krabs goes all crazy about it because they all know that attracts the clam, and of course, Mr. Krabs really does that just so he can attract the clam so he can get his dollar back, but it's really funny seeing SpongeBob and Squidward both just freaking out while Mr. Krabs is still going on with the music. Mr. Krabs is able to get the clam close enough where he stops the music and the clam stops in place, which works fine enough, I guess, and is able to get his $1 million back. However, of course, that backfires because the clam, unfreezes because the music just kind of opens up again, which is, again, really funny. And, yep, SpongeBob Squidward basically think he dies. Yep, roll credits, end of the episode. Yep.
Why could it have been me?
Yes, why couldn't it have been you?
But of course, Mr. Krabs doesn't die because it's a kid's show, and it's like, yep, boom, only head, no body, awesome, and I got my $1 million back, and yep, that's the episode, basically. So why do I like this episode so much? Well, if you ask me, it's just how it perfectly executes itself. We've got really funny jokes, now admittedly not the funniest in the series, but also just the fact of how it perfectly parodies the original source material and also respects the source material, while it feeling not so intrusive into the SpongeBob universe, if that makes sense. So that's why Clams is my favorite SpongeBob episode. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This was different in a way, but I want to try something new, and I know I teased this a while back, and so I hope you enjoyed it. If you want something more like this, just tell me in the comments below, and yeah, any feedback is awesome, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out!